For science today, we are on lesson 3, which is on pages 18 to 21. The notes are going to be very similar, so make sure as you're listening to the video that you are filling out this sheet. So make sure you have this out. If you want to have your worksheet out, you can. And your book should be open to page 18, which is lesson 3. Once you have that out, you can go ahead and press play. So yesterday we looked at how we classify vertebrates. Today we're going to be looking at invertebrates. So if you remember in that vertebrates have backbones, invertebrates are animals without backbones. So make sure that you're filling that in. The very first blank on your note says invertebrates do not have. They do not have backbones. I'm going to start reading in the section that says animals without backbones. Most of the animals on Earth do not have backbones. They are invertebrates. Some are too small to be seen with the naked eye. The largest invertebrates, which are giant squids, can easily stretch across the width of a basketball court. Some kinds of invertebrates include mollusks, worms, cnidarians, and arthropods. So looking at the second point on your notes, most animals are invertebrates. So most animals do not have backbones. Vertebrates are that smaller group of animals. Reading on to where it talks about mollusks. You're looking to hear two things you hear about each group of invertebrate. A mollusk has a soft body without bones. This phylum includes animals such as snails, slugs, clams, and squids. Some mollusks, like clams, have a hard outer shell that protects them from being eaten. Some mollusks get oxygen by using gills. Others are able to absorb oxygen through their skin. So I wrote something about mollusks. I said that they have a soft body without bones. You can write down what kind of animals are in the mollusk family. Or you can talk about that they get oxygen in multiple ways, but make sure that you are writing that in your notes. Going on to the section about worms. Worms belong to many different phyla. Flatworms are flat and very thin. They live in a wet or damp place. Roundworms can live in water or on land. Segmented worms include the earthworm. Some kinds of worms are microscopic, which means so tiny you can only see it with a microscope. Some are huge. One of the largest earthworms caught was about 7 meters, which is 23 feet long. Which you think about a classroom is about 10 feet. So think of 2 classrooms on top of each other, and that's how long one of the biggest earthworms is. So worms belong to many different phylum. There are various body types and living environments. So that means that they can look a lot different and they can also live in a lot of different places. I wrote down that earthworms are segmented worms. You can look up a couple different things as far as what else about a worm. On page 19, that is just some invertebrates, some examples, and then it also has the life cycle of a jellyfish that you can look at on your own. The next section is arthropods. Some examples of arthropods are insects, lobsters, and spiders. This is the largest phylum of animals. The word arthropod means jointed feet. Arthropods also have bodies that are divided into separate parts. All arthropods are invertebrates. Arthropods get oxygen in many ways. Lobsters have gills. Grasshoppers have special tubes that carry air through their bodies. Spiders breathe with organs called book lungs. So there's a lot of things that you can write down about arthropods. One thing I wrote down is just that they're all invertebrates. There's no arthropod that is a vertebrate. These next 2 parts, I'm not going to read through it. All I want to talk about is the dichotomous key. So if you're looking at your notes, underneath arthropods it says a blank blank is used to identify an unknown organism, and that is a dichotomous key. And a dichotomous key, it asks yes or no questions, and you follow the arrow, and then it leads you to a certain area or classification. So if a scientist ever finds an organism that it doesn't know, it would use this key to try and figure out what it is. The last thing I want to point out is metamorphosis. So complete metamorphosis is a total change in the body. So butterflies, moths, and houseflies are arthropods that have life cycles that include big changes. So those big changes are what make for a complete metamorphosis. So on that last point on your notes, metamorphosis is a life cycle with big changes, often in appearance. So think about a butterfly that starts as an egg, and then it goes to a larva, and then a caterpillar, or a larva, so looking like a caterpillar, and then it goes into the stage where it turns into a chrysalis, and then finally a butterfly. In each of those stages, they look completely different. You should have all of your notes filled out. If you want to look at page 21, just looking how a dichotomous key works, you can. On number 9 on your worksheet, just some help there. It's make sure that you have both points. How are metamorphosis and incomplete metamorphosis alike and different? The different one is going to be a lot easier because we talked about the changes that happen in a complete metamorphosis.